I've been starting every back day with pull-ups because I really despise pull-ups. So after the set's over, because I only wanted to do 2 here, so I'm trying to keep this lift relatively concise. What I did was I just did jump up reps, which helps you about like 50% on the concentric, and then you just do your best to go as slow as you can on the way down. Awesome way to add extra intensity so you don't have to do as many total sets. Of course, if you aren't first going to failure yet, don't worry about doing past failure techniques until you actually bridge that gap of being able to fully go to failure. That last rep is the most stimulating for muscle growth. So if you're gonna work on anything, work on bridging that gap between you being to push yourself as hard as you can and being able to actually push yourself to failure. Because a lot of people's difficulty is relative, right? So you might push yourself as hard as you think you can, but your mental always quits before your physical, and that's just an experience thing. The good news is, if you're a beginner and you aren't pushing to failure yet, you get more stimulus even without going to failure, because your body hasn't adapted to being able to push yourself that hard. So like if I started going to the gym and doing 2 reps shy of failure for every single working set versus the beginner who goes 2 reps shy of failure for every working set, the beginner's gonna get way more gains than me. And then just more reps means more opportunities to bridge that gap. Why is it so bright? Am I tripping? Oh, it's a little bit better. Whenever I think about how I'm having like a suffering or a harder time in my life, I immediately think back to this quote that I heard so long ago. I have no clue who said it. Kind of a crazy position to be talking in. There's only 2 types of pains in life. There's the pain of suffering and the pain of regret. And this gives me actually a really big sense of comfort every time I remember that, because anytime I'm in a season of my life, or even just days and moments where I feel like I am suffering a little bit more than usual, I remind myself that this is good because I am taking on the pain that I will not regret. Because there really is only 2 types of pain, right? There's the pain of suffering, which is the day-to-day, you doing the hard shit that you might not want to do in the moment, but you growing from those experiences, because you only grow when you are suffering. So there's the pain of suffering, and there's the pain of regret. The problem with the pain of regret is you incur no instantaneous suffering. However, you suffer the pain of never knowing what could have been. And that's what I think of for any time I don't want to take action is, oh no, if I don't endure this suffering, I will endure the regret. And regret is so much worse because you will forever have to wonder what could have been. And that will keep you up at night. And that's what it feels like to burn through potential. feel like a lot of my lifts recently haven't been the most energy, but that's okay, because sometimes it starts slow, but it's gonna pick up. We're working on different times because that's what's going on. Being routine oriented and then getting out of your routine is always a little bit difficult. Notice how I'm rounding my back forward? That's super important. Gotta get the full range of motion. Oh, you pussy. Okay, never mind. I was a big pussy. I don't even know what to say about that. I've been pushing to failure so much that sometimes I think I'm even quitting a little shy when I actually go to failure. I don't know what clicked in my mind that made me thought that I had another rep. Definitely did not have another rep. I'm gonna do 3 here because this is my only back thickness movement. I'm gonna move on to another width movement. Biceps. And yeah. You know what's crazy to think about is how real suffering is a fixed cost. It's a fixed cost of doing anything. It's a fixed cost of trying. It's a fixed cost of doing nothing. You are always going to suffer. The game of life is suffering. It's just how hard do you suffer and what do you choose to trade your suffering in return for? Skinny people suffer, overweight people suffer, married people suffer, single people suffer, people who step in the gym every day suffer, people who've never stepped into the gym in their life suffer. It's just what reward are you getting for that suffering? And so bringing this back to how there's only 2 pains in life, the pain of suffering and the pain of regret. The people who never step into the gym their entire life regret not knowing what beauty their physique truly could have been, or what potential partners they could have attracted, or potential friends that they could have had because of the relationships they could have built, because they would have been more confident, had more disciplined, got to network with higher up individuals, got to turn more heads at the beach. They get to regret for the rest of their life never knowing what could have been and wondering, oh man, I just wish I was jacked. In the same sense, people that go to the gym every day, or people that go 4 times a day, or the people that go 4 times a week, they suffer as well. But their suffering, although long term because they're doing it consistently, it's in the short term because you only do it for 50 minutes every single day. But the payoff is you obviously look so much better. And so the biggest issue is most people trade their suffering for a bag of chips, for sleeping in, for not filling out their t-shirt and forgetting to watch Netflix all the time. That's what they're trading their suffering for. And in return, they are rewarded with regret. The name of the game is suffering. You are going to suffer. You might as well get the reward. If somebody was going to come to you and say, hey, you know, your net worth, whatever that is, however many houses, cars, how much money you have in the bank, I'm going to take all of it. But you get one thing in return. What would you name? What would you want in return? And a lot of people in return ask for comfort, stability, and a life not worth living. You know what's crazy is the number 1 addiction in the world, it's not caffeine, alcohol, drugs. It's comfort. Because all of those things give you comfort. And the crazy thing is the more you suffer, the more you get acclimated to that level of suffering. So therefore you get comfortable. And then you have to go off the deep end again. It's kind of crazy, right? Because think of it, this is most easily thought of in fitness for me, right? Obviously, because I'm a coach. So like first 4 years, I was able to push myself really, really hard with no plan and get great results. And I got really comfortable doing that. Now, it was very uncomfortable in the beginning. I had to establish consistency, and I had to learn how to properly work out, and I had to push myself. All of these things are very uncomfortable. I had to go to a gym where I didn't feel confident because I hadn't stepped in a foot in there before. It's like, it's uncomfortable in the beginning, and then you get very comfortable pushing yourself every day and going to failure and stepping into the gym consistently. And then now you're comfortable towards something healthy. Your brain craves that comfort. And then after 4 years, at least for my journey, I realized that I had gotten so comfortable with doing the same shit every single day and not progressing that I hit a 2-year-long plateau with my strength and with my physique. And then I was like, man, I really gotta start upping how uncomfortable I am. I gotta get rid of this comfort because I was so comfortable doing the same thing that I always did that gave me the same results I always got. And those results were great. But if I want to be exceptional, it requires a heightened level of discomfort again. So then it's time to up it. Suffering's a fixed cost, man. If you're gonna fucking suffer, you might as well feel great and look great while suffering. I define learning as, you know what's so crazy is thinking about how my brain just goes into a completely different space when I'm working out. Like, sometimes I'm just thinking about how many reps I'm doing, and sometimes I'm just completely not even here. Different dimension. What dimension I chose to go to on that set was what intelligence and what learning fundamentally are. I define intelligence as the rate of learning. I feel like most people would define it as that, whereas when you're younger, you think, well, your intelligence is whatever fucking college you get into, or however high you scored on that test, which is stupid. I have two definitions of intelligence. One, I think somebody is smart or intelligent if they're able to get what they want out of life. So if you just want to live super comfortable, white picket fence, beautiful husband, beautiful wife, kids, dog, nice house, stable income, decent group of friends, movies on the weekend, that's what you want, and you get that, you are incredibly intelligent. Flip side, entrepreneur, somebody who works his entire life, makes millions and billions of dollars, suffers every single day because he works 16 hours and had to endure 10 years with no payoff, just reinvesting everything back into the business, living paycheck to paycheck, but then finally gets that big break where he gets to exit the company, make tens of millions of dollars. And that's what you wanted in life? You are incredibly intelligent. And that works the entire way of the spectrum, all the way from junkie who just likes to wake up, smoke weed, and do nothing all day. If that's what you want in life, fine, you got it, you're intelligent. Same thing, all the way on the other end, which is a lot easier to demonstrate, so I don't even need to give an example. Back to what I originally said. Fundamentally, intelligence, rate of learning. So if I say, okay, curl this dumbbell like this and then put it down slowly, scratch that. Let's say I say, I want you to pick up a dumbbell, curl it up, drop it down, then count to 1 rep, do that 10 times, and you go and you do that. And then on the next set, I say, okay, this time I want you to bump the weight up, go to 6 reps, and for every single time you curl the weight up, I want you to count to 2 seconds on the way down. Slow the eccentric. And you're not able to do that next set. In the next set, you still go to 10 reps because you forget or you aren't able to actually control the weight down. And then you do it on the 3rd set. And on the 4th set, it takes you to finally, get accustomed to what I told you to do, versus the person who was able to do it like that after I told him to do that. The second person, objectively, is smarter. The rate at which they learned, I was able to give them new information and they immediately were able to apply it. Rate of learning, that's intelligence. So here's where shit gets a little spicy. I went through a phase in my entire life Talk, here we go, Dirk. I went through a phase in my life where I got super into the self-help books, listening to podcasts, only listening to classical music while I was at the gym. Yes, I was that guy. And reinforcing myself consistently with as much healthy educational content as possible. Little did I know, I wasn't increasing my intelligence whatsoever, because learning means same condition, new behavior, the rate at which you're able to apply change. And so for all the people who right now are flooding their feed with motivational podcasts, information on how they can level up, reading all of the self-help books like I did, if you aren't applying anything, you are just entertaining yourself. You are not learning. You could watch a million videos on how to properly train, but if you never step foot in the gym and you never apply anything that you learn nothing and you aren't intelligent. If you watch a million videos on how to become better at sales or how to increase your skill set in whatever role you have in your business, and then you never apply it, but you could tell everybody about what you need to do to, make more money, you haven't fucking learned. I guess I'm saying this now because I was mad at myself, because I realized I went through this whole phase where I was like, oh, I'm gonna learn as much as possible. And then after all of the information went through one ear and out the other, even though it stayed in there for a brief period of time where I could gloat to others about all the motivational quotes that I learned, to preaching how wise I am, I realized I never actually fucking applied anything I was learning. In which case, there was the same condition, me stuck in the same spot with my physique, my business, my relationships, my friendships, my ex, whatever, and there was no new behavior. No learning ensued, no learning took place. The smartest thing you could do is try to pick up one new piece of information every single day, every single week, apply it, and force yourself to ignore everything else until you can apply the first thing. And you want to know the fastest way to demonstrate if you actually learn anything? Raw action. And I'll tell you why. If you can't put into action what you have learned, and that doesn't mean telling other people what you learned, then you haven't learned. And the biggest issue that a lot of people, myself, previous self included, is we think that we need the perfect information or the perfect program or the perfect approach to be able to start. But starting is the only perfect condition, because it's the only one that proves that you have what it takes to actually progress. You can't learn if you don't give yourself a feedback loop to learn from. So assuming that you're gonna make a ton of progress once you get everything perfectly in line to be able to make that perfect progress is ridiculous. The only way you get good at something is through reps. So suck up the ego, admit that even if you take the smartest approach, you're still gonna fucking suck. And then The smartest people try to get as much volume, as many reps done as quickly as possible, because then you get the most feedback in the shortest amount of time to therefore learn. And I'm interchanging, I'm obviously just using the word reps because that applies most commonly to fitness, but reps apply to everything. Sports, business, going on dates. Like literally, if you're the person who's thinking, oh, well, I have such a, here's just something crazy. Everything can be changed just by raw volume. If you just do more, you are inherently eventually going to win. I would argue that the smartest approach is to do so much volume, it would be unreasonable for you not to succeed. Because you have so much feedback to work from. So if you're like, I can't get that girlfriend, I can't get that boyfriend, like I struggle so much on dates. Well, it's like, okay, well, how many dates did you go on? You're like, well, I didn't really go on any this month. Well, go on more dates. Give yourself more feedback. Yeah, but Dirk, like I don't even leave the house. Okay, well, how many times did you leave the house today? Because that'll give you more opportunities to meet new people. How many people did you talk to today? I didn't talk to anybody. Okay, well, let's go back to leaving the house. How many times did you leave the house? Well, I only left 3 times. Well, where did you go when you left the house? How many times did you go to those places where you think you'll meet new people? Like, it's just about getting more and more and more reps. How many times did you leave the house? Okay, I increased it from 5 to 10. Okay, out of those 10 times, where did you go? I went to fucking Panda Express, I got food. Okay, well, if you want to meet somebody hot, don't you think you should go to the fucking gym? Yeah, okay, well, start including that into how many times you leave the house. Okay, now you're leaving the house 10 times and you're going to the right places. Well, how many times did you approach the guy? Or how many times did you approach the girl? You know, well, I only approached one person today. Okay, well, imagine if you approached 5. You might get rejected 5 times, but over the course of the month, if you get rejected 30 times versus 150 times, don't you think you're gonna get more feedback to know what to say next time? And then here's the key component of learning, which is same condition, new behavior. So the next 5 times you go up to that guy or the girl, did you actually change something that you said to give yourself a higher likelihood of getting their number? And then once you get their number, how many dates did you go on? And then once you go on how many ever dates, like, you see what I'm getting with this is almost everything can be solved through raw volume. And the biggest issue is most people think they need the perfect approach to be able to get the success that they want, when in reality, all you fucking need to do is do more. You just need to start. A lot of the time, I get a lot of shit when I talk about what I just talked about, because I feel like a lot of people go through life with a victim mindset, right? The one that's like, oh, but Dirk, you don't understand my situation. I have it harder than others. It's hard for me to leave my house because I have insert whatever excuse, right? And the thing is, I'm gonna give you the real. You might be fucking right. That's the thing. You might be fucking right. You might have it harder. I might not know what your level of pain is, just like how you don't know what pain I go through. This is coming from somebody who has an extremely debilitating disorder that takes up an immense amount of their effort and their time every single day. I know what it's like to suffer. I've suffered my entire life. I might not know your exact specific level of suffering, but I do know what it's like to suffer. And you know what? Even if I didn't have OCD, and even if I didn't go through all the shit that I've done with all of my surgeries and all of the bullshit, I would still know what it's like to suffer, because if it wasn't that, it would be something else. And the thing is, you might get the gold medal, dude. You might get the gold medal for suffering. You might actually have it the hardest. And then to you, I say, and what? And the reason why that question is so important is because it immediately flips the frame of being like, and what? You're right. That is my situation. So I can complain about how much my situation sucks, or I can accept that it sucks and do something about it. Because ultimately, there's nobody in this world that will ever care about your life as much as you do. So it is always on you to be able to take complete and utter control, to at least have the ability to change. Whereas some of the people that I know that I've talked to before, people that I've worked with, or people that were close to me, old friends, family even, There are a lot of people in my life who, not in my life, were in my life, that I don't resonate or talk to anymore because I believe that negativity festers and it actually impairs your decision making and your overall mental outlook if you keep it in close proximity. That's a side ramble. But the people who genuinely have like that outlook in life of woe is me, I'm getting blown around by the whims of life and I'm not able to actually change anything because I have it so much more difficult than anybody could ever imagine, you might be right. And what? It's still your situation. Nobody is coming to save you. So I get a lot of, hold on, let me finish this. So, I usually catch a lot of flack on social media because I've talked about this before, right? Where I'm like, if you don't take complete utter control of your life, you relinquish your ability to change it. And then people tell me, isn't that rich coming from a white boy with good genetics, from a good family, who's never endured a day of suffering, who knows nothing about my condition? Isn't that rich? It might be easier if I had life like you. And it's like, you know what? First of all, none of that's true, number one. And number two, there is no excuse. There are people who start with fucking nothing that climb all the way to the top, and there's people who are born with everything and waste it completely. And so if you get stuck in that comparison game of why you know what actually this is, in all of instance, is it goes back to what I was saying before. So the number one addiction in the world is comfort. And so what you're doing is you're comforting yourself for your own lack of action. Oh, I didn't get the guy or the girl that I wanted because I just, I had it harder and I wasn't blessed with the genetics of being tall, tan, and handsome like some other people. That is comforting to relinquish all of your own ability to even change that outcome. And therefore it makes you feel slightly better about yourself in the short term. That's just one example. I was never good at sports. I wasn't ever really that fast of a kid growing up. I wasn't naturally talented. Fucking, you know what? You might be the most talented person in the world, but if you don't try, you would never know. And if you don't increase the amount of reps you do, you never can become actually talented at something. I might be the best fucking tennis player in the world right now, and I have no clue because I've never picked up a fucking tennis racket. I might be the most talented. I didn't put in any reps, so therefore I'll never know. I might be number one right now. Who knows? But I never fucking tried. Just like the majority of these people complaining. And trying usually looks like showing up once and giving up when shit gets difficult. That's not fucking trying. That's reinforcing the doubt you had that when you initially stepped in. That's not genuinely trying. Well, I went one day and it didn't work out. Okay, bro. I know I'm gonna get shit for this. I got so much shit the last time I talked about this. But the thing is when you've gone through so much suffering and you've gone through so much shit to actually make genuine changes in your life, you kind of lose a lot of respect when you hear about the shit that people go through but don't actually do anything about it. You know what I mean? Like if you went through hell and back to actually become successful, and then you hear about what other people are complaining about, it's hard not to be like, well, why didn't you try? I tried, and guess what? I failed for so long. I failed so many times. But just the raw action and volume of failing and those feedback loops of the thousands of reps that I got in, it led to eventual success in whatever facet you're trying to, actually see progress in. You just have to try. You know what, I want to say one more thing about this. I know you guys know I ramble, but this was a way while back. And so I'm sure this statistic might have changed, but I saw that they took a large sum of high school, or they took one high school, they did a random poll and asked the high schoolers, you know, what if they genuinely thought that they would become a millionaire by the age of 25. This is like passed out to all of these fucking 14 through 17-year-olds, right, who are in high school. And over 50% of them thought that they would be a millionaire by the age 25. Doesn't that demonstrate such a heightened sense of delusion? Because people don't know what it really takes. I asked Alexa yesterday, what is the average, what does the top 1% earner in America earn every year? And I think it was like high 6, low 700,000, right? And so that just shows me if the top 1% are just earning that, which isn't even $1 million in a year, which I know the thing was, you know, being a millionaire by 25, but whatever. Then it just shows how many people don't really know what it genuinely takes. And so when I hear that people, you know, they try and they fail, it's hard to imagine that people actually try. Because remember, almost all of this shit that anything that you're putting a comparison on is completely relative to the individual. Just like how difficulty, if I fucking lift this bar 10 times, that might be easy for me, whereas if I give it to somebody else, it might be incredibly difficult. It's relative. It's the same thing with trying. You know, like a lot of the times I'll go completely to failure and then I'll get mad at myself because I'm like, oh man, I pussied out. I probably could have had one more rep in me. Whereas somebody will come in here, half-ass all of their exercises, walk out and feel an incredible sense of accomplishment that they worked as hard as possible. It's relative. Effort is relative. Trying is relative. Accomplishing anything is relative. And the good thing is that sheer volume negates luck. So if you're like, I think I'm trying, but I'm not sure now that Dirk's told me that I'm probably being a pussy, well, great news for you. Do more and you will know. You just don't understand how much more you have to do. I know not a lot of people are gonna like that. I don't care, because it's real. Dirk, you're so privileged. So, I'm not gonna lie, obviously not great form towards the end there, but that's okay. That's okay. It's okay. I was doing partials, I went to strict failure beforehand, and I'm happy with it. What a workout. I've got to choose one more bicep exercise. So now this begs the question, well, Dirk, the reason I'm not trying is because I'm not motivated. You know what I mean? And let me reinforce this really quickly, because this is really important to understand. If you aren't motivated to do something, that's okay. You don't have to want something. It's really okay. If you are satisfied with your physique, if you're satisfied with the amount of money in your bank account, if you're satisfied with the partner that you have, if you're satisfied with the relationships, the friendships, everything in life, that is perfectly okay. You won, bro. You won. You won. I'm talking to the people who want more and are discontent with what they have. That's my issue. Because the majority of people who don't try, they say, I want X. But your actions don't say that you want X, because you haven't done the volume to show that you want X, right? So there's really two major issues to motivation, which first off, if you don't have any motivation, fine. But I feel like the most common, there's two parts to motivation, right? There's getting motivation to change, and then there's keeping motivation to keep changing. Both are important. Let's talk about how to keep motivation, because this is the simplest of the two. Motivation tends to dwindle when you don't see results in a timely manner. If I show up to the gym 5 days per week, if I eat my perfect amount of calories, if I eat my perfect amount of protein, if I try really hard and I get rest and I work on improving myself and I see no results, why the fuck am I showing up? Why am I putting in the work, right? I wouldn't stay motivated. I wouldn't want to keep showing up, and I get that. So you solve the issue of keeping motivation by getting results in a timely manner and making the process more enjoyable. And usually those two are tied together, because to enjoy something, it has to be at least relatively challenging but progressive. So you need to be able to get better. So that's keeping motivation. And if you aren't keeping your motivation, it's probably because your approach to whatever it is that you're trying to change in some way, fundamentally, is flawed. Real. Now, acquiring motivation is a whole different story. So, like how I just said, if you aren't motivated to do something, that's totally fine. I can't make you want it, bro. I can't make you want it. But if you do want it, and you want yourself to want it more, like, I just wish I wanted it more. Well, here's how you can kind of fix that. Motivation and hunger are kind of the same thing, right? So in essence, to want something, you almost have to deprive yourself of it. And to do that, it's like, you know how they have that saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink? I think that's kind of bullshit. Because if I put salt all around that horse's lips, I dehydrate it for 3 days, I push its face into a fucking pond, I can be pretty damn confident that it's gonna drink the damn water. And that's the same thing you have to do with whatever you're trying to become more motivated to. So if you want to have the physique that you would impress others, or would impress yourself, or would be respectable, or, would make you hot or confident, which, by the way, confidence is a process and not a product. So you can't even become confident if you just got the physique you wanted. You actually have to earn it, which is like the whole point of it. Side ramble. You gotta stop doing these side rambles, man. Kind of forget the entire purpose. Lead a horse to water. Lead a horse to water, and you can make it drink if you deprive it, because it's fucking starving. Environment. That's what you have to fix. Thank you for figuring that out, Dirk. No problem. There's my intrusive thoughts. You can make a fucking horse drink water in the same sense that you can make yourself want to get jacked. Because if you surround yourself with people who set the fucking standard, and you only need one to set the standard, and you look up to, it will inherently make you more motivated to achieve that result, because now you objectively get to see all of the benefits that come with it. You get to see the respect this person earns when they fill out their t-shirt and walk into the room, the attention they get from others for potential partner interest, the health benefits that they feel, and how they don't get winded going up the stairs, or they can put on whatever clothes they want and still make it look good. They don't choose clothes based on what makes them look less fat. They choose clothes based on what makes them genuinely feel like it looks cool. It's like all these benefits that come with getting in the best shape of your life, you can't imagine them until you see them firsthand. And that gets changed by your environment. So in the same sense that I could push that fucking horse's head down into water, you can push yourself to be in the gym to see other people. And if you just step in there and you make one friend, or you have a coach, or you have somebody in your life who's setting the standard, you can look up to them and you can grow with them. And so that's this one sense, right, where it's like environment. So the people around you who are genuinely, even if it's subconsciously, shifting your outlook on your motivation, your hunger. But the other factors of environment are like physical location. Like, do you have healthy food in your proximity? Do you go to bed on time? Do you flood yourself with content that is, you know, stupid brain rot, or stuff that inspires you. Like, there's so many different ways that you could talk about environment, but I will say the number one way to shift your environment is to change the people in your environment. And so a lot of the times, the worst situation that you could be in is being with a bunch of people who are equally on your level or slightly below you. It's easy to be a big fucking fish. It's easy to be the biggest fish in the pond if the pond is a fucking puddle. Get in the goddamn ocean. So like in the same sense of what I'm saying is you need to deprive yourself of the one thing that you want to want more, which is like a weird thing to think about. But it's like every time that I've had any of my major injuries that I've completely bounced back from and got jacked again, even after tearing my knee a bunch of times, tearing ligaments in my foot, breaking my elbow in a couple places. Like I've had a plethora of injuries, etc., playing all these sports and doing dumb shit in my life, right? Every time I get it back, and yeah, you could say, okay, well, it's muscle memory, but it's like, no, it's because I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I didn't have it back. After experiencing what it is to live life being in phenomenal tip-top condition, it's extremely hard to lose that and keep the same amount of respect for yourself because you know what your potential is and you haven't acquired it. Whereas understanding what your potential is and having never experienced it is easier to not have to, you know, like the people who make the biggest changes a lot of the times are the people who once had it. It's the 40-year-olds who come to me. They're like, Dirk, I used to be in fucking great shape when I was 25. I had a six-pack and now I'm 40 pounds overweight. What the fuck happened? I need to get back there. I need it. I'm hungry. I need it. It's not a motivation of I want this. It's not a discipline of I'm willing to suffer to endure this. It's an obsession of I need this. And those are the people who are willing to achieve it and are going to achieve it. Because you were deprived, you were starved of the one thing that you ultimately respected yourself for and earned respect from others for. So what you need to do, if I'm talking to somebody who has never once experienced what it's been like to be in fantastic shape, and I'm just relating this to fitness because it's the easiest thing for me, but it's, you know, business, relationship, whatever personal goals you have, you might want to climb fucking Mount Everest for all I care. But, like, how stupid is that? What I'm saying is it's like, you need to imagine what it would be like to have that and deprive yourself of it. So if you're like, I would like to be more motivated to get in shape, but I'm not really that motivated right now. Well, imagine what it would be like if that girl or that guy that you're always thinking about finally showed you some attention because you walked in and you were in completely different physical conditioning. Or imagine what it would be like when you showed up to the office and everybody was like, holy shit, how'd you do that? Or imagine what it would be like if you put on your shirt and it fit in the right way and all the buttons were popping off your chest and all of them were loose on the pants. Or imagine what it would be like to go down the flight of stairs and have no issues with your breath. Or imagine getting to eat so many more calories just because you have more muscle mass and it takes more calories just to, you know, keep what you have. Imagine being able to eat more and look better. Imagine what that would be like. Close your eyes, imagine it, 30 seconds. And now you're back to where you are. See how you might be a little hungry for it now? Deprive yourself of it, starve yourself of it, become more motivated. Uno más. God, I could talk about this shit all day. It's like the pre-workout finally kicked in. That was like a little bitch. Okay. What a great day to have a great day. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I'm up to 219 fast morning weight. So we've been putting on some pounds, but like I'm all right. I think it's going in the right places. Hopefully it goes to the biceps. We do have a lot of work to do though, so I'm gonna get back on my cardio game and dial back in the calories. But let's go through posing real quick. Yeah, this ain't looking so hot. Everybody has those days, but I'm hungry and motivated to get it back. Anyways, y'all, I hope y'all enjoyed. This one was a little bit all over the place. Usually don't get that heated up. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. I appreciate y'all. Nothing changes, nothing changes. If you want to become the best version of yourself, look at what you're doing every single day, because if you don't change something fundamentally, you will keep getting the same results you've always gotten. You need a change to make a change. Like if I took Adrian or Steven and took their physique away that they had achieved working with me, they wouldn't be able to sleep until they got it back. Because once you see the true beauty and potential in your physique, in your confidence, in all of the great things that come with it, like if you ever lost it, you would have to get it back. It's not a I want to get it back or I'm going to work my hardest to get it back. It's going to be a I need it back. Nothing changes, nothing changes. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.